Right.
Okay, call the regular council meeting for the corporation of the town of Cobalt to order on August 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. None. Public meetings, there are none. Deputations, delegations, there are none. 5, adoption of meeting agenda, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the agenda of the regular meeting dated August 19th, 2025 as presented. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes and Councillor Lafleur. Any clarification required? Errors, omissions? No? All in favor? Carried. 6, adoption of previous council minutes. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the following minutes as presented. Regular meeting of council July 22nd, 2025. Special meeting of council July 28th, 2025. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. Any errors, omissions? All in favor? Carried. 7, staff reports. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the staff reports as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Starchuk and Councillor Anderson. Okay, 7.1, staff report 2025-08-19-01, municipal tax sale results, August 6th, 2025. Any discussion on this? Questions for staff? Steve?
Just to let council know that on August 6th, there was a deadline for tax sales. One did sell. And right now, 2 of the properties did not receive any tenders. 2 properties that did not receive any tenders is one off of Hudson Bay Road, and the other one is on Pirate Street. So within here, staff will be requesting what to do with these properties next. And there is a recommendation at the end of the report.
Verbalize the recommendation.
Yep. Recommended that council directs staff to register a notice of vesting for the taxes in the amount of $14,384.04 to be written off, and the proportionate share be charged back to the school boards.
7.2, staff report 2025-08-19-02, surplus municipal properties. Any questions? Okay, Steve?
Your worship, back on June 13th, 2023, council adopted a list of tasks and plans, and they want us to look at, staff to look at vacant lots. Well, one did come up here, and that is number 1 on North Avenue. And that is what we would like to put forward and put into a surplus and property.
Okay. Is that serviced?
Service can be, it's very close to the lines.
Okay.
So
7.3, staff report 2025-08-19-03, restoration Bruce Lonsdale Memorial Park West. Any questions in that report?
Are we going to be voting on this now, or is this later?
No, it's just a staff report right now.
It's a staff report later in the discussion?
Yes.
later.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? 7.4, staff report 2025-08-19-04, bylaw 2025-28, tiered response agreement with DSAP. Steve?
Your worship, this is just to update our agreement with DSAB for tiered response for our firefighters going to medical calls. Currently, right now, it is outdated, so this is just getting everything back up to speed and have everything properly mentioned.
Councilor Anderson?
Just have one question on that. Reading it through, kept going, is when it's a case of a heart attack or cessation of breathing, is the fire department automatically sent first?
For any medical.
Yeah,
any medical call.
Okay.
That requires,
because,
ambulance areas because of the distance for the calls. We have a good response.
Yeah. couple paragraphs down, then it sounded like, well, it all depended on the time of when an ambulance could get there to relieve them. And
Yeah,
it's
if,
like, no, I want those fire department.
yeah,
there first.
they are.
They have saved lives in this town.
Yes. Once a call comes in, if there's an ambulance already in town.
Yeah. Oh, that makes
so they
sense,
won't
yeah.
be dispatched. But if they're even as far as Hellberry or
Yeah.
anywhere to Missouri Shores or anywhere on the highway.
Our guys are still there for us. Okay. I just wanted that clarified for sure.
Okay, anything else? 7.5, staff report 2025-08-1905, bylaw 2025-29, exotic animals. Any clarification required? See?
Yes, your worship, this here is just going for the first and second reading, of the exotic animal bylaw, due to what was brought up during discussions with our animal bylaw to begin with, and what cases that we're hearing across the province with the exotic animals. This will pertain to that, not our current cats and dogs.
And all in favor of accepting the staff report? Carried. Items for council consideration, 8.1, letter of support, Northern Highway 11 and 17 Safety Act 2025. Draft motion, whereas accidents and highway closures have become the norm along highways 11 and 17, and whereas many of the accidents currently happening in the north are preventable. And whereas Bill 49, being an act to amend the Highway Traffic Act and Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act with respect to northern highway safety, includes 4 key measures to improve highway safety on highways 11 and 17 as follows. Mandating that scale and inspection stations operate at least 12 hours daily. Ensuring that sufficient enforcement of the Highway Traffic Act. Guaranteeing that testing of truck drivers for commercial licensing is conducted by examiners certified by the Ministry of Transportation. Restoring management of winter highway maintenance on highways 11 and 17 to the Ministry of Transportation. Now therefore be it resolved that council for the town of Cobalt supports the township of Coleman's motion endorsing Bill 49 and encourages members of the provincial legislature to support its passage in order to improve the northern highway safety. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Starchuk, any discussion? Councillor Wilcox.
I'm just curious, when you read it out, that you said that Cobalt Council endorses the Township of Coleman one, but I don't see that under the now therefore be it resolved.
That the town council for the town of Cobalt supports.
It says
The
Council for the
township of
Township
Coleman's
of Coleman.
motion,
And this was a motion here.
and there's a motion from Coleman there.
Yeah, okay, I might be reading the wrong one.
Resolution,
Yeah, you're reading the wrong one.
Yeah, okay, I'm reading the wrong one. Life is good.
okay. Anything else? Anybody else? No? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Eight point two, letter of support, mandatory certification requirements for firefighters. Whereas the Ontario government has enacted OREG 343 2022, establishing mandatory certification requirements for firefighters under the Fire Protection and Prevention Act, 1997. And whereas Council for the Town of Cobalt acknowledges the importance of standardized firefighter training and safety. Sorry. And whereas these mandatory certification requirements pose significant challenges for small, rural, and northern municipalities due to limited financial and training resources, geographical barriers, and reliance on volunteer fire departments. And whereas the implementation of these requirements without additional flexibility or support may negatively impact the town's ability to recruit and retain volunteer firefighters and provide adequate fire protection to its residents. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Town of Cobalt formally opposes the mandatory firefighter certification requirements as currently outlined in OReg 343/22, and further that this resolution be forwarded to the Solicitor General, Premier of Ontario, MPP John Bantoff, the Fire Marshal, AMO, Benong, and all Ontario municipalities. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Hughes. Any discussion? Okay. I, for one, would like to point out that at some point, there's got to be some give for small municipalities on fire regulations, not just in our firefighters, because yes, we rely heavily on volunteer firefighters, but also on fire truck, requirements, because our fire trucks may go out 5-6 times in a year as opposed to 5-6 times in a day in a larger municipality. And they've got to understand that we also have budget constraints. We're a much smaller tax base. We don't have the tax revenues that larger municipalities have.
I was speaking to our fire chief, Chief Hearn, about this. And it's been actually an issue for some time. And even though some of the current firefighters, it's difficult enough to get volunteers. And this would just detour if these volunteers needed specific training out of town, costs involved. And that's a concern not only for our municipality, but for all small municipalities that don't have a full-time fire department.
Anything else? All in favor? Carried. 8.3, surplus property related to staff report 2025-08-1902. Draft motion. Whereas council received staff report 2025-08-1902 with a recommendation to declare 1 North Avenue as surplus to the municipal needs. Now therefore be it resolved that council declare 1 North Avenue as surplus to the municipal needs. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes, Councillor LaFleur, any discussion? Councillor Anderson.
Would that posted price be 14,000 like staff recommended? Yeah, I think it meets that. Yeah. It's a good size. I went through the other day and took a good long look at it. It's a good size chunk of property.
Anything else? All in favor? Carried. 8.4, restoration Bruce Lonsdale Memorial Park related to staff report 2025-08-1903. Draft motion. Whereas council received staff report 2025-08-1903, now therefore be it resolved that council either approve or deny the request for financial assistance by the Cobalt Historical Society for the restoration of the Bruce Lonsdale Memorial Park. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes and Councillor LaFleur, discussion? Counselor Starchuck?
I was thinking about this earlier, if the recommendation is we can't afford it this year, maybe next year, but if we can, maybe we could all pitch in and donate. All us councils could donate the cost because it's, to replace the sign is $685. Split it 6 ways, it's like $114 each. And to replace the picture is $38, and that could be $6. We could contribute to get this sign done this year instead of next year and putting it off. I think it's very important that we have these historic sites as we're in a historic town to look good. I think it's very important that the sign gets done as soon as possible. Because of that.
It's something that each counselor can consider.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable passing that formally as council.
I did mine.
Hey, I don't think that that's something I'm comfortable passing as part of a meeting. I think that's an individual choice.
Just a suggestion.
Okay, Counselor Wilcox?
Oh, I was just curious as to financial assistance through the financial assistance policy of 2020-10. Are we really that strapped that we can't afford to do it this year? And what's going to happen next year that would make it more important?
Okay, I'll speak to that. One, it wasn't budgeted, so could we do it? I'm not 100% certain or comfortable saying yes, we could, because it isn't budgeted. What happens if we get another water break? Or we get 2 more water breaks? We have to take care of the necessary parts of the town. And I'm not comfortable deviating from our policy, because once you set the precedent of deviating from a policy once, then you're going to have to continue to deviate from that policy. You put policies in place for a reason. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm not sympathetic or not supportive of it. But there's a reason why that policy is there, so that these things can be budgeted. And I don't think that that's unreasonable. But that's my opinion. Counselor Anderson.
Well, since we're at, just about the end of the tourism season anyway, if they put in a request, for assistance on part of it for next year, then that can be considered for next year's budget. And, that date for putting in the requests is coming up pretty quickly anyway, so, we can do it through, by the books and then see what we can work out. I certainly agree on the, every time a water main breaks, it kills us.
Actually, I walked by the Bruce Lonsdale Park this evening. The plaque itself has actually been redone. I know the Cobalt Historical Society posted something the other day on it. It looks phenomenal with the picture redone and his background. It's great. So I just got with the Historical Society, possibly like budgeting next year, like for the Bruce Lonsdale sign. And I think that's what looking at the request would be more towards, because now the plaque has been completed. Like I said, it looks phenomenal. Also, costs right now are up over $1,000 due to the vandalism of the washrooms down there. We had to close them up after public works hours because the toilet sinks all damaged multiple times. We tried to give benefit of the doubt to have it open on weekends and evenings. Unfortunately, it cost the municipality as well.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. I can go around the table and you can tell me whether you approve, and then we can go around and.
We could just call the question.
Okay. So are we going to approve or deny the request?
You want some hands or?
Yeah, I believe so, and then we'll plug in the appropriate response and
Go first.
vote the motion.
I approve. 6 is signed.
I'd like to see.
It's coming out of our budget, right?
$685.
I'm not sure what's in the budget at this point, but I know what happens when a pipe breaks,
Mhm.
and the cost of that is gonna be, now I'm gonna cancel on it. I'm gonna vote it down.
Mhm. Yeah, the same thing, no, I'll deny, we'll look at next year or whatever we can do. Not this year.
Councilor Wilcox?
I agree with all of the comments, except that I would, rather than just saying it's denied, I would say and invite them to reapply next year.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, that's basically what I'm saying. If I reapply next year, yeah.
Okay, so we'll amend the motion
That way.
The council invite them to reapply next year.
to read, whereas council received staff report 2025-08-1903, now therefore be it resolved that council deny the request for financial assistance by the Cobalt Historical Society for the restoration of Bruce Lonsdale Memorial Park and invite them to reapply for the 2026 fiscal year. As per our financial assistance policy.
Could we not approve it now and have it pay it next year? Say it's approved and we'll give you the money in spring.
No, because it hasn't gone into next year's budget.
Again, there's a process. Okay. Any other discussion, comments, questions? Okay, all in favor? All right, carried. Items for council information, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the items for council information as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councilor Wilcox and Councilor LaFleur. 9.1, Aqua, Water and Wasteland Systems Quarterly Operations Report, Q2. Any questions, comments? I believe we're inviting them back at a later meeting to give us a presentation more in depth. Okay, 9.2. Were you putting your hand up or just looking at your pen?
Yeah, just getting my pen working here.
9.2, Timiskaming Foundation 2025 Annual Grants, Silverland Cemetery Donation.
Your worship, yes. Temiskaming Foundation presented a fund from Vern Odell and Cleo Montgomery Fund for the amount of $12.80 for the Silverland Cemetery, as well as there's also a check, discretionary grant for $2,000 as well.
For the Silverland.
Yeah, for the silver. So
And that comes from the Mary, sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on. Mary, Aline, and William Jack Matthews Fund.
Mhm.
9.3, Temiskaming 211, an older adults resource guide for Temiskaming and area. My understanding is this is going to have for-profit and not-for-profit resources for older adults. 9.4, Cochrane Food Bank, support for establishing and sustaining a food bank in Cobalt. Okay, all in favor of accepting items for council information? Sorry, I skipped over that last one pretty quick. Any discussion?
No.
Okay,
If they come up with the ban for us.
all in favor? Carried. 10, bylaws and agreements. 10.1, bylaw 2025-28 to enter into an agreement with DSAP Paramedic Services related to staff report 2025-08-1904. Draft motion, whereas council receives staff report 2025-08-1904. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-28 being a bylaw to enter into a tiered response agreement with the District of Mississippi Social Services Administration Board be read a third time and finally passed this 19th day of first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 19th day of August 2025. And further, that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox, Councillor Starchuk. Any discussion?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Why does this have it teamed up with DSAP? Like, what does this mean particularly?
See?
Our ambulance services, GISA.
Oh, that's, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
they
so
are
it's the
in
same
control
as
of
the
the-
housing and all that
Yes.
stuff, it's the same initials? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. 10.2, bylaw 2025-29, exotic animals. Related to staff report 2025-08-1905. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-08-1905, now therefore be it resolved that bylaw 2025-29, being a bylaw to prohibit or regulate the keeping of certain classes of animals, be read a first and second time this 19th day of August 2025. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Starchuk, discussion? Okay. All in favor? Carried. 11, unfinished business. I believe there is none. 12, new business. 12.1, schedule of accounts. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council receives the following schedules as presented. Schedule number 2025-14 in the amount of $234,042.08. Schedule number 2025-15 in the amount of $70,900.83. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes and Councillor Lafleur. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 13, mayor's report. Okay, so I don't always have a mayor's report, so I have a few things this time. Okay, I would like to clarify a couple of items mentioned in a recent article in the newspaper. Council only meets in closed when required by the Municipal Act. And you can look that up as a section of the Act as referenced when we call to go into closed. Being on council is a commitment of 4 years and takes serious consideration, unless you come in during a term. So if you really need to be committed to giving your time to it, as well as realizing that not every decision is quick, and every decision that council makes doesn't just impact tomorrow, but also has consequences 10, 20, and 30 years down the road. The town only supports the library and the medical clinic at this time. Our library is doing a wonderful job of fundraising, which helps to minimize the impact to our budget, which in turn lessens the impact to our ratepayers. As for the medical clinic, I believe this is an important service to our residents, and our support makes that possible. All other groups are currently self-sustaining and don't require town funds from our budget. So that was just a couple of items I wanted to clarify from the article. Also, at this time, because elections are coming up in a year. Okay, so I just think it's very important that people, our residents, realize, and all of council as well, that you don't have to fill all 6 seats and the mayor's seat on a ballot. You can vote for just who you want to vote for. If that's 3 councillors, then that's 3 councillors. You're not obligated. Comments have been made to me that made me realize that some people feel that they have to fill all those spots. Okay. And then, on a more positive note, I received a book from a newish author, Richard D. Ross. He donated the book, and I'm going to read his email. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm an author who has been visiting the region for a number of years, and it wasn't until I saw a TVO documentary on the town of Cobalt that I realized just how rich the town's history is. After carrying out further research, I decided to blend the town's history and, I hope, the future into my latest mystery crime fiction novel. I will be donating books to the museum to help its finances. In addition, please find enclosed a copy of the Cobalt Conspiracy. I hope you enjoy it, and I also hope I can help publicize your wonderful account. I've started the book. Unfortunately, I did forget to bring it in with me. I was going to show the book. It's sitting on the table by my couch because I'm currently reading it. So anybody that's interested in it, you can look it up, and if there's any counselors who would like to read it when I'm done, I'm more than happy to pass it along.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
just like it to come back in good condition,
Mhm.
considering it is a signed copy.
Could we get one donated to the library maybe as well?
Yes.
We can reach out to the author and ask.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. It started off a little slow, it's picking up, I'm starting to really get into it, so. The other email I received was from Sandra Mosher. I believe I'm saying her name properly.
Yeah.
Hello,
How's she
so
doing?
happy to hear the Mosher run has been once again on the runner's map. In years gone by, I was blessed to be in the company of many volunteers that worked so hard to make the Mosher run so successful. Sad to say I was not a runner, but 3 of my children and grandchildren were brave to take part. John Shaw always wanted me to walk with him, but I never did. Was so happy to have all those Cobalt friends. Getting active in Temiskaming sounds like a really good and worthwhile effort. Kudos to them. I'm going to keep in touch with what they're doing. In days gone by, the Mining Museum played a big part in promoting Cobalt and the Mosher Run. Then Anne Fraboni retired. She was a wonderful advocate for Cobalt, along with councillors at that time. A very good bunch. Was blessed to know them. I'm usually in Cobalt and Hallaberry a weekend in the summer and hoped I make it this year. I would have loved to have seen this year's Mosher Run. Very proud of the participants. Enjoy your time being Mayor of Cobalt, a dedicated job. Every best wish to you. Sandra Mosher, Murdoch Mosher's daughter from Aurelia, Ontario.
Good to hear from her every year. Yes, seen her every year when she's been up here.
So that's my long-winded mayor's report. 14, closed meeting, draft motion, be it resolved that council convene in closed session, section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, in order to address a matter pertaining to subsection 2A, security of property of the municipality or local board. 2B, personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 2F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Leclerc, all in favor? Carried. And we are going to take a 5-10 minute recess. And we will not be returning to video when we come back.